Antonio Gramsci was born on January 22, 1891 in Ales, a small town in Sardinia, Italy. He was the fourth of 7 children in a poor family. His father, Francesco Gramsci, worked as a low-level government official, while his mother, Giuseppina Piberi, was a teacher. The family struggled financially, which deeply influenced Gramsci's perspective on class and society from a young age. Due to his family's financial difficulties, Gramsci faced significant challenges in his early education. However, he was a bright student and showed a strong interest in literature and politics. At the age of 14, he moved to Turin to live with his older brother, where he was exposed to a more vibrant intellectual and political environment. This move marked the beginning of his active engagement with socialist ideas and political activism, ultimately shaping his future as a revolutionary thinker and writer. Antonio Gramsci's education began in Ales, where he showed exceptional promise as a student despite the challenges posed by his family's financial situation. At the age of 14, he moved to Turin to live with his older brother, where he enrolled in a technical school. In Turin, he encountered a more dynamic and politically charged atmosphere that would significantly influence his intellectual development. Gramsci excelled academically, particularly in subjects like literature and philosophy. His education was complemented by his involvement in various cultural and political movements, which exposed him to socialist ideas. He became actively engaged in the student socialist organizations and started writing for local newspapers. In 1911, Gramsci enrolled at the University of Turin, where he studied literature, history, and philosophy. His time at university deepened his understanding of Marxist theory and introduced him to the ideas of key thinkers such as Benedetto Croce and Vilfredo Pareto. He participated in socialist activism during this period, helping to establish a student federation aligned with the Italian Socialist Party. Despite his academic achievements, Gramsci's family struggled to support him financially, and he had to rely on scholarships and his own efforts to continue his studies. His education, shaped by both formal schooling and his engagement with political activism, laid the groundwork for his later work as a political theorist and revolutionary thinker. The environment in which Antonio Gramsci lived played a crucial role in shaping his thoughts and writings. Growing up in a poor family in Sardinia, he experienced firsthand the struggles of the working class, which instilled in him a deep awareness of social injustice and economic inequality. This background fueled his desire for social change and informed his later analyses of class dynamics. After moving to Turin, Gramsci was immersed in a vibrant industrial city that was a hub of political and social movements. The rapid industrialization and the accompanying labor struggles greatly influenced his understanding of class relations. In Turin, he became involved with the socialist movement and witnessed the power struggles between workers and industrialists, leading him to advocate for the establishment of workers' councils. The intellectual climate of early 20th century Italy, marked by the rise of Marxist thought and political activism, also shaped Gramsci's philosophy. He engaged with various leftist thinkers and movements, which helped him develop his ideas on cultural hegemony and the role of intellectuals in society. The experience of political repression under Mussolini's regime further deepened his understanding of power dynamics and the ways in which ideology is used to maintain control over the masses. Gramsci's environment, marked by economic hardship, political turmoil, and cultural ferment, provided him with the context needed to critique the status quo and develop his theories on social change, making his works profoundly relevant to the struggles of his time and beyond. Antonio Gramsci's political engagement and rise began in earnest during his time in Turin after he moved there to pursue his education. He became involved with the Italian Socialist Party and started writing for the socialist newspaper L'Ordine Nuovo, which he co-founded in 1919. This publication focused on the workers' councils, which aimed to empower laborers and challenge the capitalist system. Gramsci's writings during this period emphasized the importance of direct worker participation in politics and the need for a revolutionary transformation of society. In 1921, Gramsci played a significant role in the establishment of the Italian Communist Party, PCI, aligning himself with the Bolshevik Revolution and advocating for a Marxist approach to Italian politics. His involvement in the party highlighted his commitment to a radical leftist agenda and the need for a united front against fascism. Gramsci's intellectual contributions, combined with his organizational skills, quickly positioned him as a prominent figure within the party. As a leader in the PCI, Gramsci sought to bridge the gap between intellectuals and the working class, arguing that intellectuals should serve as agents of change in society. He believed that creating a cultural and ideological foundation was crucial for a successful revolution. His focus on cultural hegemony emphasized the need to challenge the dominant narratives imposed by the ruling class, making the struggle for social change not only political, but also cultural. However, Gramsci's political rise was abruptly cut short when Mussolini's fascist regime came to power in 1922. His activism made him a target for repression, and he was arrested in 1926. Despite his imprisonment, Gramsci's influence continued to grow as he used his time in prison to write extensively, producing the prison notebooks that would later establish him as one of the most important Marxist thinkers of the 20th century. His experiences of political engagement and the subsequent repression deepened his understanding of power dynamics, ideology, and the necessity of a cultural approach to revolutionary change. Antonio Gramsci's involvement in politics began in his youth while living in Turin, where he became deeply engaged with the socialist movement. He joined the Italian Socialist Party and started writing for various leftist publications, quickly establishing himself as a vocal advocate for workers' rights. His early political activities focused on labor issues, particularly the formation of workers' councils, which he believed were essential for empowering the working class and promoting direct participation in governance. In 1919, Gramsci co-founded the newspaper L'Ordine Nuovo, which became a key platform for promoting the ideas of revolutionary socialism. The newspaper emphasized the importance of workers' self-management and the need for a broader revolutionary movement in Italy. Gramsci's writings in L'Ordine Nuovo critiqued the existing capitalist structures and called for a transformative political agenda that would challenge the status quo. In 1921, Gramsci played a crucial role in the founding of the Italian Communist Party, PC1, aligning himself with the Bolshevik principles that had emerged from the Russian Revolution. His commitment to the Communist Party was driven by a desire to unite various leftist factions against fascism and to build a cohesive revolutionary movement. Within the PCI, Gramsci worked to connect intellectual discourse with practical political action, emphasizing that intellectuals should engage with the working class to foster a more informed and united front. Gramsci's political engagement extended beyond writing and activism. He was also involved in organizational efforts to mobilize workers and build solidarity among different labor groups. He believed that a successful revolution required not only political strategy, but also cultural and ideological groundwork. However, his activism made him a target for Mussolini's fascist regime, leading to his arrest in 1926. Despite his imprisonment, Gramsci continued to influence leftist thought and remain a vital figure in political discourse through his writings, notably the prison notebooks, which articulated his theories on cultural hegemony and the role of intellectuals in society. Antonio Gramsci's concept of workers' councils emerged during his political activism in early 20th century Italy, particularly in the context of the growing labor movement. These councils, known as Soviets in the Russian context, represented a form of direct worker governance, where laborers could collectively organize and manage their workplaces. Gramsci viewed these councils as a vital means of empowering workers and facilitating their participation in political decision-making. In his writings, especially in the newspaper L'Ordine Nuovo, Gramsci argued that workers' councils were essential for challenging the capitalist system. He believed that the councils could serve as the basis for a revolutionary movement, enabling workers to take control of their production and assert their rights against exploitation. Gramsci emphasized that these councils should not only be seen as temporary structures, but as integral to the long-term transformation of society. The establishment of workers' councils was particularly significant during the wave of strikes and labor unrest that swept through Italy in the aftermath of World War I. Gramsci supported the idea that these councils could help unite workers across various industries and create a powerful collective force against the ruling class. He advocated for the councils to act as a counterpower to the state, asserting that they could challenge the existing political order and promote a new form of socialism rooted in direct democracy. Gramsci's vision of workers' councils highlighted his belief in the importance of grassroots organization and the need for a cultural shift among the working class. He argued that, in addition to political action, workers needed to develop a new consciousness that would empower them to advocate for their interests and reshape society. Despite the eventual repression of the workers' councils by the fascist regime, Gramsci's ideas about their role in fostering worker empowerment and revolutionary change would continue to resonate within Marxist theory and labor movements. Antonio Gramsci's alliance with the Communist Party was a pivotal aspect of his political engagement and theoretical development in the early 20th century. In 1921, he was instrumental in founding the Italian Communist Party, PCI, as a response to the growing influence of fascism and the need for a united leftist movement. Gramsci believed that the PCI could serve as a platform to unite various socialist factions and address the pressing issues facing the working class in Italy. Gramsci's alignment with the Communist Party was shaped by his admiration for the Bolshevik Revolution, which had demonstrated the potential for a successful socialist uprising. He sought to adapt the lessons of the Russian Revolution to the Italian context, emphasizing the importance of building a strong party organization capable of leading the working class in its struggle against capitalism. He viewed the Communist Party as essential for creating a revolutionary vanguard that could educate and mobilize the masses. Within the PCI, Gramsci advocated for a strategy that combined political action with cultural engagement. He emphasized the need for the party to connect with the working class on both intellectual and practical levels, fostering a shared revolutionary consciousness. His concept of cultural hegemony emerged during this period, highlighting the importance of challenging the dominant ideologies imposed by the ruling class and promoting alternative narratives that would empower workers. Despite his contributions to the party, Gramsci's relationship with the PCI was not without challenges. He faced internal divisions and debates over strategy, particularly regarding the approach to the broader social and political landscape in Italy. Nonetheless, Gramsci's commitment to the Communist Party remained steadfast until his arrest in 1926 by Mussolini's fascist regime, which viewed him as a significant threat. His imprisonment did not diminish his influence. Instead, it allowed him to further develop his ideas through the prison notebooks, ensuring that his vision for a united left and a revolutionary movement continued to resonate within Marxist thought long after his death. Antonio Gramsci was arrested in 1926 as part of Mussolini's crackdown on political dissent and opposition to the fascist regime. His involvement in the Italian Communist Party and his influential writings made him a target for repression. Following the rise of fascism in Italy, Gramsci's political activities became increasingly dangerous, as the regime sought to eliminate any threats to its authority. After his arrest, Gramsci was tried and sentenced to 20 years in prison. However, his imprisonment was not merely a punishment. It also served as a means for the fascist government to silence one of its most articulate critics. During his time in prison, Gramsci faced harsh conditions, but he remained intellectually active, using his confinement to write extensively. While incarcerated, he produced the Prison Notebooks, a collection of writings that explored his thoughts on culture, politics, and society. In these notebooks, Gramsci developed key concepts such as cultural hegemony and the role of intellectuals in shaping public consciousness. He articulated his ideas about the importance of a counter-hegemonic struggle, emphasizing that any successful revolution must involve both political and cultural dimensions. Gramsci's imprisonment lasted until his death in 1937, but his ideas continued to influence leftist thought and movements around the world. Despite the oppressive environment, Gramsci's resilience and commitment to his beliefs allowed him to leave a profound legacy that would endure long after his death. His writings during this period became foundational texts for subsequent generations of Marxist theorists, and his life story symbolized the struggles against fascism and for social justice. During his imprisonment, Antonio Gramsci continued to write prolifically, despite the harsh conditions and limitations imposed by the fascist regime. His most significant contributions during this period were compiled in the Prison Notebooks, a collection of essays and reflections that explored various themes in politics, culture, and philosophy. Gramsci wrote these notebooks over several years, often in difficult circumstances, using scraps of paper and whatever materials he could find. In the prison notebooks, Gramsci developed key concepts that would become foundational in Marxist theory. One of his most influential ideas was that of cultural hegemony, which argued that the ruling class maintains control not just through political and economic means, but also by shaping cultural norms and ideologies. He posited that in order to challenge the existing power structures, it was crucial to create alternative narratives and cultural practices that empowered the working class. Gramsci also reflected on the role of intellectuals in society, asserting that they have a responsibility to engage with the masses and promote social change. He distinguished between traditional intellectuals, who often serve the interests of the ruling class, and organic intellectuals, who emerge from the working class and work to articulate their experiences and struggles. This distinction highlighted the importance of grassroots organization and the need for a revolutionary consciousness among the masses. His writings also addressed the concept of the Southern question, which explored the socio-economic disparities between northern and southern Italy. Gramsci's insights into regional inequalities further informed his understanding of class struggle and the necessity of a unified front against oppression. Overall, Gramsci's writing during imprisonment not only reflected his resilience and commitment to his political beliefs, but also laid the groundwork for future generations of Marxist thinkers. His ability to articulate complex ideas in the face of adversity solidified his legacy as a pivotal figure in political philosophy and social theory. Antonio Gramsci's key works primarily consist of his writings from his time in prison, notably the prison notebooks, which are regarded as his most significant contributions to political theory and Marxist thought. These notebooks contain a wealth of ideas on culture, politics, and philosophy, developed through his reflections during his imprisonment from 1926 until his death in 1937. In the prison notebooks, Gramsci introduced the concept of cultural hegemony, which describes how the ruling class maintains power not only through force, but also by establishing dominant cultural narratives that shape public perception and beliefs. He argued that to challenge this hegemony, the working class must develop its own counter-hegemonic culture and consciousness, emphasizing the importance of ideology in the struggle for social change. Another critical theme in his writings is the role of intellectuals. Gramsci distinguished between traditional intellectuals, who uphold the status quo, and organic intellectuals, who emerge from the working class and help articulate its interests and struggles. He believed that intellectuals have a vital role in fostering political awareness and facilitating revolutionary movements. Gramsci also examined various political movements and historical events, offering insights into the dynamics of power, class struggle, and the nature of fascism. His analysis of the Southern question explored the socio-economic disparities in Italy, particularly between the industrial North and the agrarian South, highlighting the complexities of regional inequalities and their implications for political mobilization. In addition to the prison notebooks, Gramsci wrote several essays and articles during his early political career, including contributions to the newspaper L'Ordine Nuovo, where he articulated his ideas about workers' councils and the importance of direct worker participation in politics. Overall, Gramsci's key works remain influential across various fields, including political theory, sociology, cultural studies, and education, as they continue to provide critical insights into the interplay of power, culture, and social change. Antonio Gramsci died on April 27, 1937, at the age of 46, after enduring more than a decade of imprisonment under Mussolini's fascist regime. His health had deteriorated significantly during his time in prison due to a combination of harsh conditions, poor medical care, and the effects of the political repression he faced. Gramsci suffered from various ailments, including tuberculosis, which ultimately contributed to his decline. Despite his imprisonment, Gramsci continued to write prolifically, producing the prison notebooks and other works that would solidify his legacy as a crucial Marxist thinker. His death marked the loss of a profound intellectual voice that had articulated complex ideas about culture, power, and social change. Gramsci's passing went largely unrecognized in Italy, as the fascist regime sought to suppress any acknowledgement of his influence and significance. However, his ideas and writings continued to resonate beyond his lifetime, gaining traction among leftist movements and intellectual circles. In the years following his death, Gramsci's work would be rediscovered and celebrated for its insights into the relationship between culture and politics, ensuring that his legacy would endure long after his passing. Antonio Gramsci's concept of cultural hegemony is a foundational idea in his political theory, emphasizing how the ruling class maintains control over society, not just through political or economic means, but primarily through cultural and ideological dominance. Gramsci argued that the prevailing values, beliefs, and norms of a society serve to uphold the interests of the ruling class, shaping public perception and common sense in ways that obscure inequalities and justify the existing social order. Cultural hegemony involves the process by which certain ideologies become dominant, making them appear natural and universally accepted, while alternative viewpoints are marginalized or suppressed. Gramsci believed that this ideological control was crucial for the stability of the ruling class, as it ensured the consent of the masses, reducing the likelihood of open rebellion or challenge to authority. This control is often maintained through institutions such as education, religion, and the media, which propagate the values of the ruling class and discourage critical engagement with the status quo. For Gramsci, challenging cultural hegemony was essential for any successful revolutionary movement. He argued that the working class must develop its own counter-hegemonic culture, creating narratives and ideologies that reflect its interests and experiences. This counter-hegemonic struggle involves fostering political awareness among the masses and promoting an alternative vision of society that can unite diverse social groups in the pursuit of social justice and equality. Gramsci's emphasis on cultural hegemony highlighted the importance of ideology in political struggle, suggesting that social change requires not only economic and political action, but also a profound cultural transformation. His ideas have had a lasting impact on fields such as cultural studies, sociology, and political theory, influencing various movements and thinkers who seek to understand and challenge the ways in which culture shapes power dynamics in society. Antonio Gramsci's impact extends across multiple fields, including political theory, sociology, cultural studies, education, and philosophy. His ideas, particularly on cultural hegemony, have profoundly influenced how scholars and activists understand power dynamics, social change, and the relationship between culture and politics. In political theory, Gramsci's work has reshaped the understanding of class struggle and revolutionary potential. His emphasis on the importance of ideology and culture in maintaining social order has prompted new approaches to analyzing political movements and their effectiveness. Scholars have built upon his concepts to explore how marginalized groups can develop counter-hegemonic narratives that challenge dominant ideologies. In sociology, Gramsci's theories have been utilized to examine social institutions and their role in perpetuating inequalities. His insights into the mechanisms of cultural hegemony have provided a framework for understanding how social norms and values are constructed and maintained, shedding light on issues such as race, class, and gender. Researchers have drawn on his work to analyze how cultural practices and institutions can either reinforce or disrupt existing power structures. Cultural studies, in particular, has been significantly shaped by Gramsci's ideas. His focus on the relationship between culture and power has influenced critical analyses of media, popular culture, and consumerism. Scholars in this field have used Gramsci's theories to investigate how cultural representations reflect and shape social identities and power relations, as well as how cultural production can serve as a site of resistance and contestation. In education, Gramsci's concept of the organic intellectual has inspired educators and theorists to rethink the role of intellectuals in society. He argued that educators should engage with the working class to promote critical consciousness and empower students to challenge the status quo. This idea has informed pedagogical approaches that emphasize social justice, critical thinking, and active participation in democratic processes. Overall, Gramsci's contributions have transcended disciplinary boundaries, making his work relevant to a wide array of contemporary debates about power, culture, and social change. His legacy continues to inspire activists, scholars, and educators who seek to understand and transform the world around them. Antonio Gramsci's views on the role of intellectuals are central to his political theory, emphasizing their importance in shaping societal consciousness and facilitating social change. Gramsci distinguished between two types of intellectuals: traditional intellectuals, who align with the interests of the ruling class, and organic intellectuals, who emerge from the working class and represent its interests. He believed that traditional intellectuals often uphold the status quo, serving to justify and perpetuate existing power structures through their ideas and cultural contributions. In contrast, organic intellectuals play a crucial role in articulating the experiences, struggles, and aspirations of the working class. Gramsci argued that these intellectuals should engage directly with the masses, fostering critical consciousness and empowering individuals to challenge oppressive systems. He believed that for a successful revolutionary movement, it was essential for organic intellectuals to help build a counter-hegemonic culture that could contest dominant ideologies and inspire collective action. Gramsci's emphasis on the role of intellectuals also extended to the importance of education and cultural production. He posited that intellectuals should not only produce knowledge, but also actively participate in political life, seeking to educate and mobilize the working class. This engagement is vital for creating a political and cultural landscape where alternative narratives can thrive, fostering a more equitable society. Overall, Gramsci's insights into the role of intellectuals highlight the interplay between culture, ideology, and politics. He underscored that intellectuals have a responsibility to challenge the dominant ideologies that sustain inequality and to contribute to the development of a more just and democratic society. This perspective continues to influence contemporary discussions about the responsibilities of intellectuals in relation to social justice and activism. Antonio Gramsci's concepts of common sense and good sense are pivotal in understanding how he approached the formation of ideas and ideologies within society. Gramsci defined common sense as the collection of beliefs, assumptions, and everyday understandings that people hold, often shaped by their immediate social context and the dominant ideology of the ruling class. This common sense reflects the prevailing cultural norms and values that influence people's perceptions of the world, often leading to uncritical acceptance of the status quo. Gramsci viewed common sense as a mix of folk wisdom, cultural stereotypes, and the ideologies propagated by dominant social institutions, which can serve to legitimize and perpetuate existing power structures. In contrast, good sense refers to a more critical and reflective understanding of social reality. It involves the capacity to analyze and question the prevailing norms and ideologies, leading to a deeper awareness of social injustices and the need for change. Good sense is rooted in a rational and informed perspective, enabling individuals to recognize contradictions within common sense and to challenge oppressive systems. Gramsci believed that fostering good sense among the working class was essential for developing a counter-hegemonic culture capable of challenging dominant ideologies. He argued that organic intellectuals, emerging from the working class, should work to elevate good sense by engaging with the masses, promoting critical thinking, and encouraging the questioning of common sense beliefs. This process is vital for empowering individuals to articulate their own experiences and interests, ultimately contributing to the broader struggle for social justice and revolutionary change. In summary, Gramsci's notions of common sense and good sense underscore the importance of ideology in shaping human consciousness and social relations. While common sense may reinforce existing power dynamics, good sense offers the potential for critical engagement and transformation, enabling the working class to develop a more just and equitable society.